My name is Hussein Mahadi, and I'll be moderating the session today on artificial intelligence and technology. As we all know, we are in the week, which is like halfway of the Gypsy Mentorship and Internship Program on artificial intelligence. Please let me know if you can all hear me.
Sorry, we can't really hear. Your voice is cracking a bit.
Okay, 1 minute, please. All right, can we hear me now? Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay, if you can hear me, just indicate on the chat box. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. I can see there's a mentee that can hear me. Okay, welcome. Also welcome. I will also welcoming to see Mr. Bode is on the call, and we'll also be having Mr. Gabriel to joining us on the call today. Once again, Hussein Mahadi, I will be moderating the session today on robotics and oversight. We have two mentors for today's program. Share the screen so to the business perspective. Our first mentor for today is Mr. Gabriel. Gabriel is a research fellow at the Robotics and Artificial Intelligence Law Society, Wales, Berlin, with a strong passion for the intersection of AI, law, ethics, and society. Also, he is a PhD candidate at the European University Badrina, Frankfurt, under topics like six 20 city technologies, our second mentor for today is Ode Akimodu. It's also on the call. So Mr. Bode is the co-founder and CTO at Lency Robotics. His expertise in building, typing, development, management, and mass manufacturing of robotics and automated systems. Thank you very much for joining us today, Mr. Bode. Before we call on our mentor to give us an overview of the topic today, as we all know, the topic is robotics sites. I would encourage everyone to turn on their videos. As we all know, sessions have been live streamed on YouTube, and we encourage everyone to listen and get into our mentors. So kindly do so. Also, Mr. Body is over to you. Do we think Mr. Body can hear me? Some people say they can hear me. Some say my audio is not clear.
I I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, okay. Okay, while we are waiting for Mr. Bode, I'll quickly make the last announcements for today. As we all know, the mentorship program is still currently ongoing. The registration for the next quarter, I mean. So it's either you want to register for another course which is now artificial intelligence and technology. As you can see, we have IP, the energy industry, fintech, health tech and law, patent drafting, blockchain, NFTs, and the metaverse, data privacy and protection, entertainment, business and law, and alternative dispute resolution. We encourage you to share our flyers every week on your social media handles to your friends, colleagues, and family members who might be interested in taking any of these courses. And you can also take any of the courses after completion
You
of
need
your
me to
official
give an
intelligence.
intro?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Um, okay. As has been described, I'm Bode Akimodu. Currently, in the robotics industry. So I do a lot of uh, managing of robotics teams, robotics engineers and teams. We majorly focused on autonomous robots and automated systems. Um, so we have been in the industry for about 8 years and counting. And my own personal experience goes back to 2012. We do a lot of so we try to solve a lot of problems being faced by industries in terms of automation. We are more of the core aspect of robotics, where we focus a lot of our resources on prototyping, R&D, development, and mass production in some sense. But most of our systems actually uh, are not produced in so many large quantities, because these are very expensive equipment or robotic solutions. So we haven't adopted so much of artificial intelligence in our systems, but we are implementing some level of computer vision in some of our solutions. And computer vision requires a lot of machine learning, which inevitably would have to implement at one point or the other some form of artificial intelligence. But we are not heavily into deployment of artificial intelligence, more of computer vision based algorithms, uh, which are more machine learning and deep learning focused. So yeah, I think that's an overview of where our interests lie and what we currently are involved in.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Bode, for that wonderful introduction. I hope you can hear me now. For those that said they can't hear me clearly. Sophie, can you hear me? One and group two members
It's
to
more
start.
better now.
Okay, thank you. So I encourage group one and group two members to start preparing for their presentation. Who is the presenter for group one? You can step in and make your presentation now. While group two presenter should also be preparing. Presenter for group one, are you on the call? Any group one member?
Group two.
Okay, group two. Okay, you can start. Group two can go first. Please, group one, you can start coordinating your group members. So immediately after group two, you can. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Dennis. I just got an information now that they actually merged group one and group two, so we are only having one presentation. So when you can start now.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon. Your device is echoing, so you can mute one.
You can hear me now?
You should not only
Can you hear
mute,
me?
you should off the speaker of the other device.
Okay.
Yeah. You're muted on this one you are talking with. I can't hear you. You are still muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes. It's still echoing.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. You need to that device you want to use to share your screen. You need to turn off the
Okay,
speaker
let me
from that device.
Okay.
It's still echoing.
Let me
Guys, please, we encourage everyone to turn on their videos. If you guys don't turn on your videos, I will turn off my video now. So, Dennis, Bopemi, Sophie, Benga, Ijoma, please turn on your video. Juliana Eze, Ede Emmanuel, Wisdom Agbo, Deborah Onulu, please turn on
Can you
your
hear me now?
video. Thank you very much. Yes, it's better now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, yes. I said I can hear you loud and clear. You can carry on with your
Okay.
presentation
Can
now.
I go on?
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Group 1, Group 2. My name is Weng Daliop, and I am the group presenter. So without much ado, can I proceed?
Yes, you can proceed.
Our topic for presentation is robotics and oversight. Robotics has been referred to as the interdisciplinary field of engineering and science that involves the design, construction, operation, and use of programmed machines that are capable of carrying out tasks automatically or semi-autonomously. The design and construction of robots is the focus of the engineering discipline, known as automation and robotics.
You can share your screen while you are presenting. Thank you.
I'm representing group 2.
I said you should share your screen.
Okay.
Yeah, carry on.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So I said the design and construction of robotics is the focus of the engineering discipline known as automation and robotics. Now, if you look at it with the way the world is going now, robotics is the in thing because it will make jobs a little bit easier for people. They will have to, wouldn't have to do some things themselves. They only have to assign robots that will do some things for them instead of them doing it personally themselves. So as robots become more advanced and integrated into various aspects of society, ethical questions arise regarding their impact on human life, privacy, and decision-making. So if we go further to look at, the way robotics is going, I think it is the way of the future. However, when we come to the issue of discussion of their decision-making process, we tend to feel maybe they might get interference from outside devices that could interfere with them negatively. So I think maybe that's one of the areas that, we might exercise a little bit of fear, but I don't think with the way things are going, that will be a problem, because they will have to, make sure that they are chipped properly to ensure that they do not, harm us as humans. Okay. Ethical issues, concerning robotics is safety, accountability and liability, privacy, autonomy and control, and also social impact. I think these are some of the ethical issues that we need to look at in ensuring that, the robotics, is considered safe, accountable, and, reliable. Also, looking at the social impact of these robotic devices, in the sense that they will not harm us as humans. So these are some of the ethical issues we will look at. The regulatory framework for robotics and oversight. There is a need for the law as well as the regulatory bodies to ensure standardization and quality assurance to help establish standards for the design, production, and operation of robots to ensure quality, reliability, and interoperability. These are very fundamental in robotics engineering as we have it today. And as people who are advancing and looking forward to a better future in robotics, we also need to consider all of these items in the sense that standardization and quality is of paramount importance. Also design, production, operation of the robots. We have seen some robots that do cleaning. We have also seen robots that go for errands. We have also seen robots also who have also helped in maybe warfare and what have you. So we also have to make sure that these robots are in line with our best interests and they will not be in a position to harm us in any way. Okay. The regulatory framework for robotics includes several worldwide initiatives and developments aimed at controlling the use of applications. Framework for the classification of artificial intelligence systems was released by the OECD in order to ensure risks, assessments, and foster a shared understanding of artificial intelligence. As we will see in the world today on the issue of artificial intelligence, there are some people that have exercised fear, and then there are also people that have exercised restraint in the use of AI. But we believe that AI shouldn't be, looked upon as something that would sit with the right attitude. So I'm of the humble view that, robotics should be looked at with a positive mindset, in the sense that it will bring about, lessening the work and, bringing about, proper understanding of how artificial intelligence works, its communication, research, and education will also make us understand it better to ensure that all things work together for the best good of man in the society. Some of the regulatory frameworks include robotics safety standards, ISO, safety requirements for personal care of robots, European Union General Data Protection Directive. So I think these are some of the regulatory frameworks that have been set in place to ensure that robotics, is treated and studied in the right frame with the right research and what have you. I don't know how Africa has looked at embracing robotics. So I believe those are some of the issues that we'll also look at and also see how we can be part of this, in Africa and in Nigeria and in the world as a whole, in ensuring that, we embrace technology. Human robotics interaction and trust. HRI stands for Human Robot Interaction. It is a study of interactions between humans and robots. It encompasses the design, implementation, and evaluation of systems where humans and robots communicate, collaborate, and interact in various settings. Human-robotic interaction is very key if we are supposed to understand how we interact with these robots, as the case may be. So we have to also look at their design, their implementation, evaluation of systems where humans and robots communicate, in ensuring that everything is done properly as it ought to. Also go further to look at manifestation of human-robot interaction, call it the HRI. We have domestic settings, healthcare settings, industrial settings, education and research, public spaces, military and defense. These are certain areas in which the robotics will operate. Just like I said earlier, domestically, I think I've seen where robots help in cleaning the house. I've also seen where robots go for errands. So these are, some of the aspects we've seen under the domestic. In healthcare settings also, we've seen where machines operate on humans and carry out successful surgeries. That's an aspect in healthcare settings. In industrial settings also, we have also seen where robots have also helped in the manufacture of vehicles and also the manufacture of certain items that are needed, household materials and what have you. The robots have really helped in that aspect to lessen the work. But then, just by the way, okay, are we together?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Carry on. I can't hear you, Weng. Can anyone hear him?
Yeah, we're still
I
here.
think we lost Weng from the call. So do we have a backup presenter? Group 1 and 2, do we have a backup presenter? You can just step in and continue from where Mr. Weng stopped. Wow. No one is responding. Come on, guys. Should I call names? I believe all the mentees are group members of the group 1 and group 2, so anyone can just step up to the task. We did the research together. We came up with the PowerPoint presentation together. So it's just due diligence to step in for a presenter if he's having network issues. So anyone, please, someone should volunteer.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, Samuel, we can hear you.
Yeah, so I presented last week, that's why I didn't want to talk. And
Okay.
yes, however, except if someone help me move the slides, so I'll just finish up. Can I go on? Okay, beautiful. Okay, so as I was saying, or as he was saying during the course of the presentation, okay, where did he stop? Yes, we're talking about manifestations of human-robot interactions, and from what we can see, before we get into bias and fairness, we can see that, let's go back to the slide on various interactions. that there's more or less like a very permeative use. I don't want to use the word pervasive because it's more or less influencing various areas from domestic settings. There's some certain hotels in Dubai where you have robots that act as your proper hotel attendants. They welcome you, they take you to your room. In healthcare settings, especially during the era of COVID, you could see how the UK health system is gradually, of course, I use that word carefully, gradually integrating the use of robots. Industrial settings, in the days of Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, when the giant assembly lines were prevalent, now what you have is that in certain places, you have robots being involved in the mechanized process of production. Of course, that comes with advantages in terms of efficiency, speed, but there are concerns. Such concerns about the replacement of labor, which will have a ripple effect on the economy. Then, of course, in public spaces, you have robots that perform functions of amusement. In certain places, you have robotic CCTV cameras and so on. Military and defense. So we have heard of automated moving vehicles. You have drones that are not unmanned, not only unmanned, but are robotic. So those are areas in which HIR happens. That's human-robot interaction. The last part we dealt with was the issue of bias and fairness in robotic systems. So the truth is this. Most times when we talk about artificial intelligence, can we go to the next slide? Thank you. When we talk about artificial intelligence, we forget the fact that these AI systems, before I go on, let me note that AI and robotics, even though they're not necessarily the same thing, they just share similar features. So you could have robots that are equipped with AI software in them. However, it does not automatically, because most times when you mention AI, people just think of robots. But robots and robotics are just an aspect of it. It's not necessarily the whole gamut of AI. So that said, the truth is that these robots follow certain algorithms. They follow certain software. Now, people forget that it is human beings that feed this software into the robots. And then through the process of machine learning and deep learning, these robots have learned through these algorithms to enhance their efficiency. The issue now is this. If the data from which these robots have been fed is already biased, I think was it last week when one of our mentors mentioned how in employment, you can feed the software certain requirements that you want and it automatically excludes. I think as lawyers would always say, there's this Latin maxim that says, what was that one? The express mention of a thing excludes all the others, right? The exclusion authors rule. That might be the case in certain robotics affairs where you have these robots fed in with certain data that are either biased or unverified. So this results in unfair results. So let's go to the next type, which the types and sources of bias. The speaker started very well. You have algorithmic or algorithm bias. You have and this one has to do with when the algorithm is fed with systematic and unfair discrimination. Okay, and sometimes people just think that these machines are neutral, but the truth is, if you feed a machine in those days, computer learning, we talk of garbage in, garbage out. If you feed it with bias or biased data, the algorithm will be biased. The next one is data set bias. So, of course, closely related to algorithm bias. So I won't dwell on it. The other one is evaluation bias. And that's the type we mentioned about feeding these robots with certain requirements that excludes other people in employment, in selection criteria, and so on. Then you have representative bias. And this leads to the exclusion of not just a person, but a group of people, all right, in certain areas. And this can be used even in, for instance, there's something that's called gerrymandering in politics, where you reconstitute certain geographical areas. And if this is not handled well, it leads to certain biased decisions. So that said, sorry, I'm trying to wrap this up. Let's go to the next slide. There are certain normative frameworks and regulations that can help. And we outlined 3 as a group. The first one is the General Human Rights Framework. Article 26 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, the ICCPR, talks about the fact that humans have a right not to be discriminated against. This is the general provision. And I think suffice it to say, one thing we discovered in our research is the fact that even though we have these laws on an international scale, nations are free, countries, state parties are free to enact local legislation. So besides this international legislation, you could have local legislation. The only problem with these legislations is that most of them were enacted in, I would say, a pre-robotic era. So when most of these legislations were enacted, robots were not a thing. In fact, artificial intelligence, which we have seen to be an evolving art, was still in its formative years, the time of Alan Turing and the rest. It is time for these laws to be made specific, because in as much as robots can fall under this general gamut, but if you check it out, we're talking of human rights. So we need laws that will bring it to the contemplation of the peculiarity of the circumstances. That said, we also have anti-discrimination legislation. Well, the example we gave was the Civil Rights Act 1964, which was a product of Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, and the people who activated at that time. Many nations have their own replicas of these laws. Then we asked for further legislation. The example we gave was data protection laws, but we believe that more can be done because, like we said, Albert Einstein will always say you cannot solve a problem using the old model that created that problem. You need to evolve a new model. So if we want to tackle the problem of robotics in the world, we must have legislation. And well, we know of the EU Act that was that I think it will take effect very soon. These are the kind of legislation we need. And as an African, I would need to say that Africa needs to step up to the plate. We cannot be in an era where we're just taking things hook, line, and sinker without taking into cognizance our peculiarities as a continent. I'm speaking as an African, please pardon me. That said, in conclusion, we can see that these regulatory frameworks seek to balance innovation and safety. We want to see how innovation can thrive without trampling on the rights of individuals. So, for instance, while we need robots to have efficient factories, we must remember that these factories are working to ensure the effectiveness of the human race. This cannot impinge on safety. For instance, we want security in our countries, but this cannot impinge on privacy. Like I would always say, the law itself is a balancing act. So as technology continues to evolve and these regulatory approaches, we have to adapt. It's said that man was not made for law, right? But law was made for man. There has to be that adaptation so that we can address these new challenges. And so from our robotic friend, the last slide, I think we want to say thank you. Last slide, yes, thank you. Without prejudicing your rights to listen to our presentation. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Samuel C. Chukwu, and also Wayne. Thank you also for starting the presentation, and Samuel for giving us the very spicy finishing touches. Thank you. I'll be giving the floor to Mr. Bode Akimodu to elaborate on the topic and also comment on the presentation that has been made. But before I do that, I would like to address every member from Group 1 and Group 2 in the Artificial Intelligence Group. Please kindly note that it is very important that we all make PowerPoint presentation, like be the presenters in our weekly meetings. So it's not really a good idea to shift the PowerPoint presentation to just Samuel Chukwu and a few others. One of the reasons why you sign up for Gypsy, or one of the benefits of signing up for Gypsy mentorship and internship program on artificial intelligence is to increase your presentation skills. Please, I would encourage everyone to be always prepared when coming in for the meeting. Take your time and go through your PowerPoint slides, understand the topic from the little or limited research your whole team made before coming in here. I know we have our mentors here that has years of expertise that would come here to explain the topic better for us and bring on their experiences and examples from their various fields. But before that, when coming in for the meeting, please, I encourage everyone to make sure that you go through the topic that you've been given. I know that we have like almost a week before every other session, so we have like 5 days plus to prepare for just this session. Thank you very much once again, Samuel, for stepping up to save the group for the day. But this
Thank you.
message is for everyone, and please take it very, very serious. So I'll be calling on Mr. Bode to continue. Thank you, sir.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Uh, okay. So I'm guessing you want me to speak on the slide.
Yes, speak on the slide, sir.
Okay. So I guess one or two points I would make concerning the work or the research done uh, on the slide. Yes, they got a lot of things right in explaining how robotics is interdisciplinary, and there are new and evolving aspects of robotics. It has changed considerably over the decades. We're seeing more and more advancements in robotics. As the last speaker mentioned, the there's actually a big distinction between robotics and AI, but there are very strong points where they interface. And so you have many fields and industries where they have to interface, but there are also fields where they are not in any way interconnected or have any reason to interface. So when you consider those aspects of the field of robotics, you tend to realize that it is heavily dependent on, it's heavily application based. The application decides and determines what um, kinds of technology you adopt. So we are hearing more and more about artificial intelligence in many fields, not just robotics. Robotics, like robotics, is just one of the fields. Artificial intelligence is actually have finding its foot, and is going to make a significant impact in. So I guess it's the most significant aspect that is visible to the human eyes in terms of physical parts. But artificial intelligence in many industries may not be visible, but it's being deployed heavily, especially in maintaining critical systems in space research, in space development, in rockets, in simulations for space vehicles, in simulations for aircraft, simulations for um, even your sports cars, your supercars. You have artificial intelligence being used to aid simulation, to fine tune um, aspects of vehicles, to come up with designs for vehicles that you are having new kinds of cars that are being designed by artificial intelligence, right? We're having new kinds of aircraft that are being designed by artificial intelligence. We're having new kinds of spacecrafts that are being designed by artificial intelligence. So overall, yes, robotics is getting more and more advanced, not just in the artificial intelligence space, but also in the mechanical aspect and in the electrical aspect. We're seeing more and more development. But in the AI aspect, must have been watching NVIDIA's GTC conference. I think some of us may have seen the latest about NVIDIA, how they are, most of all they talked about was artificial intelligence, how their new GPUs are going to be heavily based on artificial intelligence. Those GPUs are going to be deployed in autonomous vehicles, in advanced spacecrafts, and especially in robotics applications. So yes, and you were seeing things like Tesla going into robotics. So you're seeing more companies that in the past were mostly focused on software development, like Microsoft, like Amazon, like OpenAI, tending towards robotics now, tending towards automated systems, autonomous systems. OpenAI recently just invested in, if I'm not wrong, a company that is making humanoid robots, Figure AI. They have a partnership where Figure AI is using OpenAI's platform or OpenAI's technology to make their robots more look or sound more human-like, to make decisions and to do other things. Tesla has already showed us the possibilities of having robotic systems that they intend to deploy into factories. But for the most part, a lot of the robotic solutions you see, the adoption of AI will center around safety. Those were some of the ethical issues that were brought up in the slide. Safety is a critical aspect because in warehouses, where you're deploying robots, you need to apply um, very strict and very important safety measures for robots. And AI is actually gradually springing up in that field. It can determine, it can differentiate humans from objects in warehouses, in manufacturing sites, in inspection sites, and so many other things like that. So for better maneuverability, for better avoidance of hitting or coming in contact physically and having to hit a human being or injure them in one way or the other. Accountability and liability, I think those are majorly aspects where they will have this kind of blurry lines. You may not be able to actually pinpoint because most robot systems are going to be coming up with instruction manuals and guides, those that do not really deploy AI. But those that deploy AI, yes, there needs to be, there will have to be, and there will be a lot of accountability issues and liability. For instance, the Amazon purchase of this iRobots, which is used for cleaning inside of people's homes, cleaning and mopping inside people's homes, was recently accused of recording videos and taking images of individuals in the home, right? So these are some of the ethical issues that will have to be considered when you are dealing with robots that have to be used in people's homes and robots that have to be used in environments that are very private. So private information being leaked or being collected by consumer-based robots that have AI algorithms that will also be feeding off a lot of data that is on the cloud, is going to require a lot of accountability and liability that the manufacturers, the companies that are producing these robots will have to deal with. Privacy is what I just mentioned. There needs to be a lot of consideration for privacy, especially consumer-based robots. Privacy is definitely going to be a big issue. But I guess a lot of there's still a really evolving aspect of all of this that people really would need to read a lot of the fine print. I am expecting that there will be things like the terms and conditions you read on websites, which have been mandated to be displayed on the website before you start using that website, or before you start reading content on that website, which says there's data that will be collected. Most people tend to skip all that. I expect to see similar things in the robotics and artificial intelligence field, where most people will definitely or most likely skip and just accept, right, without reading the fine print, without going through the stress of going through that. So privacy will be autonomy and control. Every robot is expected to have one form of redundancy or fail safe in a way whereby if the robots, especially AI-based robots, if the robot goes out of control or is hacked, there's a way to return the robot back to its original point. Tesla has something like that in its drivetrain. There's a software bridge that is in between Tesla's drive system and their electronics system. So you may be able to hack a Tesla and be able to control the display, the display on the display on the dashboard. You may be able to control some electrical stuff, but it will be difficult for you to actually move the vehicle right remotely. That's some of the things that need to be put in place. Autonomy control, safety, what they call it, yeah, put in safety checks, put in safety switches, both manual and remote, to control these things. Social impact, yes, there'll be a lot of social impact over the use of robots over time. We're already seeing some of those social impacts, maybe not in Africa, but in many countries in Asia and many of some of the Western nations that we have. Robots is now becoming a part of their life. You know, in this part of the world, you may see a garbage clean or a road sweeping robot, and we may be surprised. But these are things that are very common in some environments where they are not steering anymore. They are not stopping and looking at this robot. It's a part of life. They see these robots and they avoid them so that the robot can get the job done. So the social impact is that people will get more and more used to this in terms of jobs and employment. Yes, many jobs would have to be done by robots with the use of artificial intelligence, and more jobs will be created, even as many jobs will actually become redundant. So I would say I would say so far, I think they've really broken down, in all fairness, to an extent, um, the future case scenarios where we would have, and there are many of them we may not really expect to see that may come up quite rapidly. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm done.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Bode. As you can see, Mr. Gabriel was unable to join us on the call today, so we only have Mr. Bode as our mentor. So thank you very much for being with us today and making our time to take this topic with us. So before we move into the question and answer session, I would encourage everyone to turn on their videos. We know the drill. Turn on your video, smile for the camera for at least 30 seconds. Thank you very much as you do so. Okay.
1 minute, 1 minute. I'm coming.
Who's joining us in a minute? Please do be fast.
Yes, Barrister Samuel. Okay. Yes, I don't know if you can see my face. Can you see my face?
We can't see your
Okay.
face.
Yes, this is my face.
Okay, we can see you now.
Yes.
All right, awesome.
Good.
Okay, yeah, good. We are good. Okay, our mentees on the call, for those of us that stayed with us to the end of the call, thank you very much, everyone. I've taken a screenshot, and I also hope my colleague has also taken a few screenshots. Thank you very much to all our mentees on the call. I encourage everyone to raise your hand if you have any question for our mentor for today. I myself, I have a few questions for him, as I made to understand that we didn't come up with any question during the research. So if anyone have any question, just raise your hand and I'll call on you to ask your question. Okay, while we are waiting for our mentees to ask their questions, I have a question for Mr. Bode, before you leave us. So, in the most simplest term, please help us define robotics and also give us the difference between robotics and artificial intelligence. Please, sir, let me know if you get the question.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Okay. So okay, based on your question, so robotics is majorly just the um, it's just an engineering, it's just an aspect of engineering that fuses mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, and computer science or computer engineering into one field. So it's the is the combination of sensors, motors, and software. So sensors, motors, and software to create something that mimics um, a kind of action that is that is that can solve a particular problem or is focused on a particular application. So while artificial intelligence is um, and I'm going to look. Artificial intelligence is majorly a computer science um, field. Is majorly a computer science field whereby you are training data and using that data to you to actually come up with in a way I would say the best solution or conclusions. So in other words, you're collecting a lot of data and you want to reason like a human being. It's just like a human being having a lot of experience, and then is using that experience to solve problems, right? So artificial intelligence is has a lot to do with learning from data to be able to make better decisions, and it's majorly a computer science problem.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Bode, for simplifying the difference between robotics and AI and also giving us a very outstanding definition to robotics. So that brings me to our next question. I want to ask, can robots work effectively without AI?
Okay, robots have always worked without AI. They've always worked without AI. And like I said, robots are built majorly for specific applications. The problem or the buzz around robotics today is just that people are trying to build robots that can behave like humans. Humans can solve multiple problems, can do multiple things, can act in multiple ways. But robots have over their lifetime have mostly been deployed for specific applications. They are built for specific applications. So you have robots that let me get that question again. There's a word you said.
Yeah, I was asking if robots can work effectively or efficiently without AI, just the combination of the sensors, the modules, and the software.
So AI can actually improve the application of robotics. It actually can improve. So the question goes back to, where do we need AI? It's not all aspects that AI will have a considerable improvement in a robotic solution. While there are aspects where it will have a significant improvement in a particular robotic solution or application, there are aspects of robotics where AI may not have a significant improvement. So we need to look at those. But in many cases that we are seeing nowadays, AI is having more and more important and significant improvement in the application of in specific application of robotics.
All right, and thank you very much. I perfectly understand your answers to the question now. So I still encourage anyone that have any burning question in your mind, any aspect of the topic for today that you do not understand. If you cannot raise your hand, kindly just send a text on the chat box. You can also follow our mentor on LinkedIn. He's always available. You can ask him any question whenever you are working on anything that regards artificial intelligence and robotics. I'll be waiting for any question for the next few minutes before we call it a day and end the session for today. Thanks everyone for joining the call. I believe one of our mentees left the call few minutes ago, Juliana. Anyone that has any question, I'm still waiting before we go. Thank you very much, Mr. Dennis, for the back end, and also Sophie. And also thank you very much, Mr. Bode, for coming here and joining us on this session for today. And the group members that make up the presentation, the ones that made the slides, the research, everyone, I thank you very much. With this, we've come to the end of the session for today. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone, and bye-bye.